day. Welcome back. Union Smack has made the rounds once again. Checking out NXT UK episode 81 right here. I can never do this alone, and I wouldn't want to do it alone because I couldn't give you people the enlightened, intelligent takes that this man, the maniac Matt Tennant, my tried and true, near and dear, longtime close personal friend co-host. What's going on, man? Welcome back. Where can everyone catch you? All that sweet, sweet merch and all that we do.
You can catch me on Twitter at The Perfect Tenant. You can find all our official merchandise on our online store, unionsmack.bigcartel.com. You can purchase my book, The Undertaker, A Trip Down Death Valley, from our online store, or from CompletelyNovel.com. And I say every week, Travis, but I am getting closer and closer. But you'll be able to purchase my second book, NXT UK Year 1, in the very, very near future.
Do you remember when WWE had like the Emelina vignettes building her up for months and months?
Yes.
It's like that, but it'll actually pan out and be worth a damn by the end of it.
It will. It'll be a thing of quality, Travis, he says.
But until then, guys, as always, the Undertaker book has been and is great. It's available for purchase. A Trip Down Death Valley, intro by myself included. The Bible on everything, Mark Calloway, for sure.
Indeed.
And myself, as always, on Twitter, at the Hibiki TMD. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit that red button down below to subscribe for all the best retro gaming, pro wrestling, heavy metal, all the goodness, podcasts, Terry Bollea press conferences, variety streams, and on ProWrestlingJournal.com over here. Thank you, Drew Ober, and all the fantastic writers. If it happened in a ring, they're your thing. This is our thing, though. NXT UK hitting it again, hitting the episodes. We are back in the usual rounds. The takeovers have come and gone, both US, NXT UK. The worlds have collided. We're back in the grind again. Before we get to that, last night, the US takeover, Portland, it was announced the next takeover event for NXT UK will be held from, Matt?
Dublin, Ireland. Fucking hell.
There it is. The confetti is over there in your house, I'm sure, nonstop ever since the announcement. I know you're just so overjoyed.
Yeah. So overjoyed at it being a place that I can't really get to without spending quite a bit of money. So, as I said to you off air, this may be the first takeover that we miss, like in person, obviously. Watch it on the network, but yeah. I
mean, we've had Cardiff, and I think it's a good thing to keep branching out to other countries over there, because when people think the UK over here in America, I know, and if you're listening to this and you're from America and you say you don't, I'm calling your bluff right now. That's bullshit, because we immediately just think, oh, UK, England, Britain, right there. No, it's the UK is much more than that, and it's a good chance to show that. And I'm looking forward to it, the aesthetic, the energy from a different country that I've never, unless it's like an OTT show or one of those, I've never really seen any kind of WWE house show from Ireland or any of the specials like that. And finally, our man, the ace of NXT UK, is going to get the reaction he deserves when Jordan Devlin is, I'm sure, going to be treated like Jesus Christ over there, essentially.
Yes. He's going to get the title match against Walter. That it seems like he's been lobbying for a year, ever since he fought Walter after Walter beat Pete Dunne. I think like they're going to play off of the year-long story to get him a title match, and fingers crossed he wins it in Ireland, because I would not want to be Walter, WWE, or anyone in that arena that's not Irish if Jordan Devlin gets pinned.
Yeah, and if you're going to do it,
can you imagine?
When's the next time you think they're going to have it? Even if he didn't do it, when do you think the next time they would remotely have a show that scale over there? Probably not for quite a while. So I feel like that's key time. Yeah. Just do it now.
Oh, definitely. They won't be going back to Ireland for at least a year after this, because I'm assuming, now Ireland's getting it. Scotland will be the next one, probably around summertime, to get a UK takeover, and then London is surely London. Sometime this year, have also got to get a UK takeover.
I feel like Liverpool's got to happen.
I mean, at some point, London definitely. That would have been the first place I'd have thought. Not Blackpool, London. For the first big ever pay-per-view. But they've avoided it up to now, Travis. But it's coming.
It's coming. So is this. This is coming too. Let's get down to it. Kicking
You're so
off
excited. I can hear it in your voice.
NXT UK episode 81 review. We're men of our words. We're gonna do this the best we can and keep spirits high, Matt. This took place once again from York.
Yes, it did. But the good news is, as I said to you earlier, it's like we've only got like 2 or 3 more weeks from York, and then we might get a crowd that actually cares. So fingers crossed for that.
Did you just say we only have 2 or 3 more weeks from this place?
2 or 3 stop it. 2 or 3 thrilling more weeks from York, and a crowd who plainly just doesn't give a fuck.
And if I'm booking a show, especially a weekly show like this, a show that's not exactly popular to begin with, and I'm bringing in new talent, and I want people to be big deals, especially when we have these goddamn vignettes where there's Xena, Warrior Princess, and Lord of the Rings, and all this bullshit. The last place I'm going to debut them is from, and I know it's over 2 nights, but still, a crowd that couldn't give a shit, that's tired, that's had this lackluster bullshit presented to them for this long, just could probably care to be bothered to be anywhere else right now than debut in front of this crowd. Effie, Aofi, Auuu, Anawai, however the fuck you say her name. I've heard so many variations. Valkyrie, I'm just going to say Valkyrie, finally debuted against Adele or Adam Lee or whatever the fuck her name was because she was awful. Amale.
Yeah.
Hot tamale. We'll get to her in a second, but not impressed is immediately the phrase that comes to my mind. This was, dare I say, a wet fart as far as a debut?
Yeah, it was a squash match first and foremost, but that's not what I was not impressed with. I was wholly unimpressed that they built her up for weeks in vignettes and then they just let her go. Basically, it was like the vignettes don't matter. We'll just debut you in this piece of shit match and not give you any more thought. Like, can you imagine? Like in Dublin, I'm not sure whether she's Welsh or Irish for people listening to this. So
Irish.
But in Dublin, if like Kaylee Ray had have retained the women's title, and then like after weeks of build, like really mysterious vignettes and build, like she'd have come out and just instantly made an impact and asserted herself as the new #1 contender. Because like people, I don't personally, but people on the UK Indies know who she is, and she's quite popular in certain promotions. So it's not as if, especially if she is Irish, like it's not as if she'd have been greeted like with silence. So much better way to do this. But NXT UK don't do debuts that well, as we've seen.
Yeah, perception's reality. And if you for the majority of people have no clue who this was. Hell, I barely knew who Valkyrie was. But man, just the way they shot her entrance, I'm not a fan of the poses to begin with. I think they're way overdrawn and just cheesy, flat out cheesy. And her attire looked like granny panties that were one size too big, and just poopy brown. I was reminded of Shawn Michaels attire in the Elimination Chamber and that UPS tights. Just not a good look. And it doesn't help when they see. Usually, I feel like if you're going to do, especially someone with debut who's had quite the build like this for NXT UK, quite the build, you would think there'd be some sort of nerves there on the person debuting. So you put them in here with an enhancement. Danny Burch was perfect at that. This guy who's this veteran's been doing it forever. He was a good person to help them carry along the enhancement match. Amale, I feel like was her first time I've ever seen her in NXT UK. I could be wrong. But she was blown up in literally 30 seconds, and she looked lost every step of the way. And I ended up focusing more on her just being botchamania in this more than Valkyrie, except for the finish. That was it. She was just awful. Awful.
Yeah, I agree. Amale has been in NXT UK before. I think around November time last year, she had a match with Ginny, and I think she had one with Nina Samuels. I'd have to double check that. But
that's even sadder then, man.
Mate, even sadder. She didn't make a great impression in either of their matches, and she didn't even get an entrance here. So it shows how much they care about her.
Yeah. Even when they put her name up on the graphic, even when they put her name up on the graphic, the announce team couldn't even be bothered to bring her up. They're still talking about Valkyrie.
Yeah. They've 2 matches in, and they've already given up on Amale. So
I think
What a good signing that was.
I don't know, obviously she's probably doing the same gimmick over there, but for me, when I see this gimmick, I don't get how she's so over anywhere, because for me, it seems like somebody playing a part as opposed to being themselves. I see tons of potential here, don't get me wrong, but I feel like this character does not fit what I'm seeing.
No, I agree. And also, I found her very clunky in the ring. Like, I know nerves probably got the better of her, but very clunky.
The black mask looked all right, and but my problem was with her in this match, every time she hit a move, and Amale too, they both did this, they stood there and waited for the next sequence. They never capitalized like they were in a struggle or a fight or were trying to win a match. She hit the black mask, she literally stood there for almost 4 to 5 seconds, which felt like 30 seconds till she decided to go the top rope for the finish. But there was no crowd heat, so I'm thinking, why are you standing there then? You make the crowd have heat, not wait for it.
Yeah, it's very choreographed, and I think it's the same problem I had with the Travis Banks Ligero matches, like a few months back. It's like just very obviously choreographed.
We will see what becomes of Valkyrie, how she adapts to a bigger stage like NXT UK. Right now, she better do something. She better do something. That's all I'm saying. And you know what? This is on the company too, for how she was booked in place. This wasn't all completely her fault, because a red hot crowd with her debut could have covered up a lot of the sloppiness in the match.
Yeah, it could. And I think 3 months from now, she's just going to be enhancement, sadly.
Yeah. Yep. Where'd that take us to next, Matt? We spent way more time on that match than I thought we would, and I'm glad we did.
This took us to Travis Banks and Radzi backstage.
Yep.
I mean, that's basically the reaction. Yeah, because this thankfully wasn't very long. They talked a little bit about Worlds Collide before they were interrupted by Alexander Wolf. He talked about Travis Banks letting NXT UK down, which I thought was very odd, because an NXT UK star won the match, so one of them was going to let the brand down in that case.
True. Yeah.
So what was the point he was trying to make? But yeah, and then Travis Banks asked him what it's like riding Walter's coattails. Basically, we're going to get a match between these two before we move on from York.
In a perfect world, if there was no censorship, they could have got Travis Banks over way more if they would have said, "How's Walter's dick taste?" But they couldn't do that, so they went.
That would be amazing.
That would have made him seem like such a cocky badass in a way, like he doesn't give a shit. But no, it's not. It's not AEW. They're not allowed to cuss, which is another gripe of mine. That's a different podcast. How they get away with way more. But either way, no.
Yeah.
Are you at a place like I am with Travis Banks? Anytime, and it's sad because I want to like him and be a fan and be invested. But every time he comes up on any screen, I'm just like, oh, go away.
Yeah, that's the point we've got to with Travis Banks now. It's like so much potential in like June, July of 2018 in the UK tournament. So much potential, and then just died. Died a death when NXT UK became a weekly thing. I know he's been hampered with injuries, etc., but
this is on them.
The book, it's all on them, because he's got the skill, but the booking has been shit. And it's like you look at the Travis Banks in progress in 2018 to now, and then you compare him to the NXT UK Travis Banks. It's just like, where's this man gone?
For as many pointless times now that we've seen Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa fucking turn heel and babyface on each other to a point where it's just walk away from me. Well, I couldn't care less now. There is no fucking reason that he shouldn't have been tried to at least been turned heel once at this point. They've just not even done that with Travis Banks. Nothing. Because I'm tired of saying it, but I'm going to say it again. He's such a good heel. He really is.
Yes, he's an amazing heel. I don't think either NXT UK don't see him as a heel, or they don't know how to turn him, or they just don't care. It's one of the three.
Man. Man, oh man, oh man.
Because, look at it. Like, Travis Banks hasn't got a stable on NXT UK. He's not in a tag team. He doesn't have a best friend as such. So it's like, if he was to turn, what impact would it have?
Exactly. It's so sad to think about. It's kind of like it reminds me of the Radicals with their end of the run at WCW. Before Benoit beat Sid for the title, it was just this squandered fucking potential. Time after, like, the Revolution sucked. It didn't work as a stable. It was lame. It felt like maybe the first 2 weeks we had something, but nope, WCW.
Travis Banks is the modern day WCW wrapped up in one talent.
It's ironic because he works like Dean Malenko to me.
Yeah. See, this is the thing. He's a fucking good wrestler, but they've just got nothing for him. And honestly, it's like, I know he probably enjoys the money, but I'd release him from NXT UK, let him go, and then maybe bring him back a year, 2 years from now, and try again.
Matt, I'm fresh off of watching it this week. Literally, I watched it right before we recorded. I didn't write a format down, but is it time, speaking of wasted, and is it time for the Muscle Cat and Dave Mastiff? Or am I out of order? All right.
Oh, dude. Do you want to start this one off? Because I've literally got nothing here but
this match is just a vehicle. This is Saxon Huxley. You could have inserted him with any other guy. It doesn't matter. This is just a vehicle to build up to this pointless match that we all know the spoilers on. We're not going to tell here, but Matt and I already know them. Dave Mastiff and Walter for the title. The crowd doesn't want Dave Mastiff to be that guy, and that didn't ring true more than any other match up until now than this one, where they were singing songs, chanting, didn't give a fuck, booing Mastiff. Cheering Saxon Huxley at some point over Dave Mastiff. I remember happening in this match at least once. It was just the crowd being ironic smartasses, like they didn't really give a shit about Huxley, but it was as good as Nigel McGuinness is and Aiden English and everyone who's ever announced in NXT UK. None of them, or as hard as this announced team tried, could have made me give a shit. They tried to build this match up with Walter. I could care fucking less.
Yep. And, the Dave Mastiff experiment has failed now. That's done. Maybe a heel turn would save him, like we were talking about with Travis Banks, but I don't think anything right now could make anyone care about Dave Mastiff either. And like you said, a vehicle to build up the match with Walter, right down to the little Walter moves he used, the chest slaps.
Yeah.
And like the Imperium pose after the match. We don't even need to tell people who won, because it's like they know who won.
I mean, maybe Rocky out there listening thought Saxon Huxley won, ironically, like distraction roll-up, Imperium interfered. I would have done that. That would have been more interesting than anything I saw here in this 3 minutes of nothing. of tired Dave Mastiff from all the other tapings matches he's probably had by now.
At least, you know what? The one saving grace I will mark this match good on is that he put his singlet back on.
Oh, thank God. Baby Vader's back.
Yes. No more guts. oh, can we move on? I'm
yes.
in the shower.
Let's move on to something pretty sweet on the eyes to look at. It's Tony time, right?
It is. A small amount of Tony time.
Small amount. But that's much better for me with her speaking comes into play. So
I don't know what I find worse now, is a promos or a wrestling. It's like, it's not that she's bad in the ring, obviously. It's just boring now.
It's the same match.
Boring.
It's the same algorithm she's found herself in now, I feel like, in every big match. It's the same. She works the same exact kind. It's kind of like Ric Flair. As much as I love Nate, let's be real, he had the same match a lot.
Yeah, and Toni Storm's had the same match since about February 2019.
And people get it twisted. We do love Toni Storm. We've always thought she was a tremendous talent. It's just we know what she's capable of, and we know the potential there, and that's why we're so hard on her about it. We're just like, oh, what are you doing?
She's held to higher standards.
Exactly.
And she should be a standard bearer for that division.
It's no different than one of your mates on like your favorite soccer or football team, and they're not performing up to what you know they are. You talk shit about your favorite players some years. It's just how it is.
Yeah, you do. You know what? I'd do the same with Pete Dunne if it was him phoning it in, week out. But obviously, yeah.
By the way, how did we not say congrats to Pete Dunne winning his first ever US NXT Championship, Matt?
Yeah. Happy man I am.
I'm blown away, actually. That wasn't the very first thing to come out of your mouth this week. Good job, man. You're getting better.
I was waiting. I was trying to restrain myself, but you know what? Fuck it.
Congrats.
This episode is mostly horseshit, but last night just put me on cloud nine.
Once again, Pete pulls through as a gleaming beacon of hope.
Yes.
Congrats to Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle.
Next up, NXT champion.
But this segment with Tony Storm backstage, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't as bad as I guess I thought it was going to be, but there really wasn't a lot to it. It was just, by the way, these guys were so quick to put in guys like Trent Seven and Eddie Dennis and taking the turnbuckles off and jumping off tables, but let's warn her about an I Quit match. God forbid. This could be it, Tony, if you do this. That made no sense to me. It's just a fucking I Quit match. It's just a submission match, realistically.
Yeah. Like everyone knows what an I Quit match is by now, but need to pad time, Travis. You can't just have a sign a contract and then look badass by, giving her a little line about how she's going to destroy Kaylee Ray. Just have to explain like a fucking mong to her that this could be the end for you, that if you don't win.
And by the way, we have officially gotten to a place booking Johnny Saint where he literally just nods. Thank God.
How has this man still got a job? Like, we love and respect him, but fucking hell, why are you still paying him?
Later on, he gets brought up in a GYV promo calling him the Ringmaster. So.
Yeah.
And I immediately pictured Steve Austin, which was weird.
Oh, so did I. Snap.
Boom. Crackle, pop. Let's get back to Tony, though. This was more is better. Or, excuse me, less is more for me with Tony Storm. She was to the point. Yep. She was like, before she was cutting him off sentences, which in real life, you think someone that really wanted the rematch would do that. She was like, I don't care. I don't give a shit. Just give me the match. So I like that. And that's all this really was.
Yep. And she signed the contract. And Kaylee Ray, Tony Storm for the NXT UK Women's Championship. In the next 2 or 3 weeks, Travis, I don't think they made it clear when it was coming.
But it's coming, either way. Was it Grizzled Young Veterans promo now?
Oh, yep, it was. And you know what? Just as we were praising NXT UK episodes for being shorter on promos and cutting out all the shit that we hated at the beginning, it's like they throw it right back in again.
These were always the specific promos, I feel like, during the course of our show that we always bitch about, too. These 10-minute Zach Gibson promos. Like, yes, he's good on the mic, but when there's no point behind him, we're just kind of sitting there.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, I can tolerate them a lot more now that I've finished writing the book and I don't have to pause it every 2 seconds to get it word for word. But still, they're a waste of time. This was a waste of time. And it existed, spoiler for people out there, just to set up a very, very mini feud, a one-match mini feud with The Hunt.
Yeah, because at first, I was disappointed too by the end of this because they had me for a second. They name-dropped William Regal out of nowhere. This is coming off of them being in the Dusty Classic. I was like, oh, they're going to announce that fuck NXT UK and we're leaving and all this. I thought that's what they literally built this promo up just completely like that. Like paint by numbers, this is what they're going to do, and they never did it. They just name-dropped The Hunt. It was pretty good comparison to York, but I mean, then they walked off.
Yep, that was it. That was what all this was for, and it was just like, could you not have done this by having them attack The Hunt and giving them the story that they're just pissed off that they never got their title match, like one-on-one?
Yep.
No, actually, they fucking did. What am I talking about? And they lost.
Yeah.
So, just have them attack The Hunt and say they're tired and they want the respect they're due, and leave it at that.
Pretty much. And I mean, this wasn't even a typical Zach Gibson promo either. Like the crowd, there's tremendous heat. There was very little heat too. Like there were some people with their shoes off. No one cared really. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, like you say, they're usually all over Zach Gibson, but this crowd was just like, oh, can we go home yet?
You know what? Sometimes my favorite part of podcasting is doing, Matt. I don't even care if this is out of order, but up next, your favorite hero is back in technically his hometown. Amir Jordan has come home, Matt.
Oh my God. Oh yeah, I don't know what to say about Amir Jordan. It's like he's up there with Joseph Connors for me. Like one of the most pointless men in NXT UK.
I don't see. That's where I disagree with, because I feel like almost every Amir Jordan match I've ever seen in NXT UK. Yes, most of the time no one gives a shit during his entrance. He does his little dance. But by the end of that match, he's really good at fighting from underneath and getting people to give a shit about this underdog you feel like is never going to win, but there's hope that he could pull out a sneaky 1, 2, 3 kid style or something. There's something there to work with. I just kind of think his gimmick, what kind of gimmick is it? That's the thing. Who is Amir Jordan? I feel like, and they need to invest more into getting to know him in vignettes, something, because there is stuff there to work with. He's not a bad worker either.
I see what you're saying, but I don't think this role is right for him. It's like, all right, fine, get to know him, build him up as an underdog, but do it in the tag team matches with Kenny Williams. Don't do it in matches with men like Joe Coffey.
Yeah.
Who, after tapping out to Walter, let's not forget that, Travis. Like, he didn't pass out like a hero. He tapped out to Walter in the main event of TakeOver.
Yeah.
And now it looks like he's struggling to beat Amir Jordan.
But I guess because he's a heel now,
like,
they're booking him as a heel again. I guess that makes a little more sense, but I get what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying.
I mean, to be fair, it's like, I don't think Gallus turned heel until after the main event of this episode. It's like he was bordering on it, calling out Dragunov, etc. But in this match, I think Joe Coffey was still on the fence. So technically, it's like...
We talked tons of shit, though, during this match.
Oh, he did. He talked tons of shit. But I would have just preferred, like, 2 to 3 minutes, destroy Amir Jordan. Look, this is what I can do. I'm still Joe Coffey. It's still my kingdom. But no, it's like you have to have Amir Jordan come from underneath because he's an underdog, and you need to see that you don't. Not in this match, you don't. It's like Kenny Williams, lost every singles match he had after him and Amir Jordan, split up after Amir Jordan went down.
And they've never gone back to that storyline.
They're not going back to the storyline, but I hope they. I can't believe I'm going to say this. I hope they go somewhere as a team, because I don't want to see them in singles action ever again. So I'd much prefer them to have success as a team than to keep doing this against notable talent.
And no, they're too busy giving Dave Mastiff that enhancement match on the show to even be bothered to give it the Joe Coffey match.
Yeah, that is true. It's like, do you know what? Swap the fucking roles around. Have Joe Coffey annihilate Saxon Huxley in 2.5, 3 minutes.
Yeah, have Mastiff struggle against Amir Jordan.
Can you imagine? Fucking
After Joe Coffey gets the decisive win, cuts a typical Gallus promo, really.
Yeah. If there's one thing, it's like we say week in, week out with Imperium, but if there's one thing I wish they'd stop, it's like Joe Coffey on the mic all the time, because it's the same thing.
Gallus boys on top.
It's the same promo. Yeah. It's like you could take every Joe Coffey promo and just insert the name of whoever he's feuding with there and then, and it's basically the same thing. Has been for a year and a half now.
Exactly. Pretty much, and that was that. That was Joe Coffey and Amir Jordan. Definitely not the best match on the show, but because the main event, quite frankly, should have been the best match on the show. But this goes to say all the time what we've been hitting at, and a tired crowd, a crowd that couldn't be bothered to be anywhere else, singing and chanting along can ruin a match. We've said that for years, and this right here, this goes back to what we're saying. Because on paper, this looked like it would be a good match. In ring, was it? It was a good match, but this crowd just took away so much of what could have been.
Yep, spoiled it. Absolutely fucking spoiled it. Now, I was under the impression this was going to be for the tag titles, because that's what Danny Burch and Odie Lorcan led us to believe a few weeks ago. But it wasn't. It wasn't on title. And yeah, the crowd absolutely demolished this right up until the end. I think they came round to it in the last 2 or 3 minutes, but right up until the end, they ruined it. And there's a difference between singing through a match because you're bored and what you see at TakeOver, from a TakeOver audience who are invested in absolutely everything and are singing and chanting in favour of the match and their favourite wrestler. This was just a York crowd saying, look, we want to go home, get it over with. We don't care about anyone in this match.
Which is weird, and they came off so hypocritical, too, with that crowd during this match, because Lorcan and Burch got a good reaction for their entrance.
Yeah. It's just odd, isn't it?
It's like the crowd was like, oh, yay, lights and music. And like, oh, we want more lights and music. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And like, this wasn't even 4 or 5 hours into night one. This couldn't have been 2 hours into night two, and the reaction from the audience was already that. Can you imagine? We wind forward 2 weeks to Walter and Mastiff.
I mean, maybe when they found out it was non-title too, they're like, oh.
I think even if it was the fact, even if it was for the tag team titles, they'd have just been like, no one cares. Gallus aren't losing, clearly.
Yeah. It was really, God, I want those. I don't want Gallus to be champs anymore, because for me, yeah, it did what it worked for what it needed to do to get them off that shitty losing streak, which lasted for like a year. But now you've elevated them, give some other guys some shine, because during women's matches on this show and during tag team matches, Aiden English, I don't know who in his earpiece was telling him to say it, just kept saying these divisions are so deep and there's so much talent. I'm thinking, fucking where? Especially in the women's division. Where? What division are you talking about? It needs, the decks need reshuffled drastically in NXT UK right now. Shake it up.
Yeah, I mean, they do. I'm not going to agree with him and say the roster, like the divisions are deep, but there is a lot of talent there if NXT UK decide to use it. It's like they've signed Pretty Deadly now. Like, they could build them up as a serious heel team because they've got they've got everything they need. Danny Luna, she'll strengthen the women's division, but I think I will say for the NXT UK women's division, it's the strongest it's been with Kaylee Ray on top.
As her as the figurehead and kind of like, the ambassador for that brand's title, yeah. But as far as it being a deep division with contenders, no.
Oh, it's not.
Nah.
No, it's not a deep. You've got Piper Niven, you've got Isla Dawn coming up underneath, and the rest needs a lot of work.
Mm-hmm. That was... Oh, yeah, the finish, Matt. What did you think of the finish of this match? That might help when we talk about a review.
I mean, the finish was fine. It was standard Gallus finish. Yeah, they won with the pop-up powerbomb, Enziguri. But, yeah. I don't know what else to say about it, Travis. It's like, the match was ruined for me before this, and I didn't give a shit about the finish because... the match was just so poorly received.
Crowd gave a shit about Dragunov for about 2.5 seconds when he ran out afterwards.
Yep.
And that was it. And they didn't care.
They lost interest in him, and then Gallus finally turned proper heel and all beat down Ilya Dragunov. And that was how this episode went off the air.
This show for me this week is getting a solid C-. So many misbooked, just pieces of the puzzle in different places it should have been. Debuting people on shows they don't need to debut on. Crowds ruining matches. This was one of the worst episodes of NXT UK for me. I got to be honest.
Yeah, I can't defend it. Usually I would, but I wish this was the end of the York tapings because I feel like it's going to get worse. Like, even if the match quality gets better, the tiredness in the crowd will get worse, and they're gonna react less to big things coming up. And I'm not looking forward to the next 2 to 3 weeks, even if they're amazing in the ring.
Yeah, you said it, man. And it's really sad that, by the way, those that don't know, I try to let it be known on Twitter all the time. Matt is the one behind all of our tremendous thumbnails for this show, especially. So many others on here, people. But Matt is the thumbnail wizard. When Matt's thumbnail is better than the episode, there's a problem. Because this was a kick-ass thumbnail, and it sucks it goes to waste on a C- rating. But it is what it is, man. We call it like we see it. We love the brand, but Jesus Christ. Give us a reason to keep loving it.
Yeah. Fingers crossed this was just a filler episode, and we're going to steam towards TakeOver Dublin in the next 4 to 5 weeks when we reach Coventry.
2 seconds on it before we get out of here real quick. Let's go out of here with smiles on our faces. We're not going to review anything in depth at all. What did you think as a whole of TakeOver Portland?
I thought it was amazing. Simple. What else do you say about it? From top to bottom, it was amazing. Like I said to you off air, the only down for me was Finn Balor. I'm not enjoying his matches at all right now. But apart from that, can't fault it. And do you know what? Tegan Knox and Dakota Kai absolutely blew me away.
That's our girls doing us proud. It's like watching your children graduate.
Please come back to NXT UK as soon as possible.
You left us with nothing. Thanks a lot. No, it's
NXT pilfered you, and fuck now.
It's incredible how much Dakota Kai nails it as a heel. Just every bit of it. Mannerisms, the look, works like a heel. It's vicious. She's so good. So good.
Much better than the saccharine babyface she was doing before she got injured.
Compare her to Aoife Valkyrie.
Let's not do her a disservice, eh?
My thoughts, it was
wonderful match.
Yeah, it was the whole show pretty much, a few call-ins, but as a whole, must-see. Go out of your way to catch TakeOver Portland. Anyone that says AEW, and as much as I defend AEW a lot from doing my shows, anyone ever says AEW's come pretty much close to remotely competing with anything of that quality, they're fucking wrong and they're blind, because NXT right now, even New Japan, because I think New Japan's so niche and too streamlined, and that you never get a chance to catch your breath and all blends together. NXT nails it better than any other promotion right now, booking-wise, just as a whole. Tremendous.
Agreed. And Pete Dunne, NXT champion. I will leave everyone with that.
Whoop, whoop. One more time before we got here, Matt. Where can everyone catch you? Twitter and our good stuff.
You can catch me on Twitter at The Perfect Tenant. You can buy our merchandise, our official shirt on our online shop, unionsmack.bigcartel.com. You can purchase my book, The Undertaker, A Trip Down Death Valley, from our online store, also from completelynovel.com. And my second book, NXT UK Year 1, will be available in the next few months, as and when time allows.
And you know what? We're such assholes. We always praise people. We didn't congratulate our girl, Rhea Ripley, retaining.
Yes, and going to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I'm sure she's probably going to lose, Travis. But do you know what?
I'm excited for that match more than a lot of people.
I'm excited to see her a coming of age moment, if you like on the grandest stage of them all.
Yeah.
But I don't hold out any hope of her winning. But just look how far she's come. A year and a half? She's gone from sort of green in the ring to just this phenomenon that I don't think anyone saw her being this big this soon.
Watch them put that match on the pre-show. The 2-hour pre-show.
No, can you imagine? They won't, because it's Charlotte Flair. That's the only saving grace. They will get a proper spot.
You can always tell when it's a bad week of NXT UK TV, because we try to talk about anything else to get us in positive states of mind before we get out of here. Hopefully this can help all you guys too. At Twitter, at the Hibiki TMD, that red button right down below on YouTube, Hibiki TMD, all the goodness, retro gaming, pro wrestling, heavy metal, Terry Bollea, variety, video game streams, We're Not the Mounties, and ProWrestlingJournal.com. Thank you guys once again for featuring us over here. But Happen to Ring, all the fantastic writers, they got your backs, they're your thing. Until next time, Union Smack is in the books. Until then, cheerio, mates.